Snap placement, kick on the way, and it is good. They don't block this one like last year in Kansas City. And on the final play of the game, the Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs by a final score of 22-19.
All right, checking the Rip City Radio text line. Chad K has chimed in. He said that was an amazing Broncos game. The 3rd and 14 throw by Nix was huge. You can now text Rip City Radio direct at 88528. The text line number 88528. Reach out to me, and I will get your text right here in studio, 88528. Now, in regards to the Trailblazers, no surprise that the team struggles without a quality starting point guard available, but my bigger concern are the bad shots for the sake of shooting early in the shot clock and playing fast. Yeah, and again, the reason why I'm not, concerned in terms of what we're seeing right now from the Trailblazers, it's early in the season. 13 games in, new system, new way of playing, and guys are expending a ton of energy. And they're playing a lot of different guys. And they have some key figures who are out of the lineup. So there's going to be some struggles there. And they'll get better with shot selection and learning to be a little more, controlled, or I don't know what you want to call it, a controlled aggression, but being aggressive, but doing so with better shot selection. Because you do need that. But it's going to take some time as they continue to learn. And I think fatigue started to set in a bit at the end of the road trip. As hard as they're trying to play and what they're trying to do, but that overtime period, man, they just came apart at the seams. Couldn't get a stop and just made too many mistakes throughout the course of the game. But the one bright thing that's come out of the road trip is the return of Shaedon Sharpe's shooting touch. Again, he was really good last night. He's been effective over the last few games, playing with confidence. And now Portland's back home and not much time for rest because they've got the Suns coming to town tomorrow night. Second of a back-to-back Wednesday against the Chicago Bulls. And that game tomorrow is one of the NBC games. 8 o'clock tip-off from Moda Center. So good luck to all of us who are going to be there at the game and trying to get sleep and get ready for work the next day. So that's going to be a rough back-to-backer. But those NBC games tip off at 8 o'clock at night. So if you're going to the game tomorrow, just a friendly little reminder that the game's going to tip off at 8 o'clock. The other thing I respect, too, is Deni Avdija. Love his game and the way he's playing this year. He put up a bad shot at the end of regulation. Not a good shot. Not a good possession. Wasted too much time. Settled for a long three and shot an air ball. It's not ideal. It's not good, Bob. Not what you're looking for in that situation. But he took accountability and said he's got to be better. And so I respect that. But the overtime period was rough. That's a game that, you look back on, you're like, okay, that slipped through our fingers right there. And you're going to have games like that. But I think it'll be good for them to get back home and get some of that home cooking energy behind them as they go out and continue to pursue. But remember, it's brand new. Learning a new system, how to play a new way, playing fast, being aggressive. But it's going to be much more helpful when they get Scoot Henderson because they need another point guard. You got Drew, but they need Scoot. They need somebody else there. And last night they didn't have either. No point guard. And I love Deni Avdija. And he can initiate the offense, and I trust his decision-making, but he is a little more turnover prone. All right, 503-248-0620. I do want to play this. I'm still buzzing. It took me a while to unwind from that Bronco game yesterday. I'm not going to lie. I hosted that gig down at Spirit Mountain Casino, the table game side bet drawings. Gave away 5 great prizes, including 4 Trailblazer suite tickets yesterday at 7. I was driving down watching the game, and I don't know how I made it down there without crashing my car multiple times because the game was so electrifying. So it took me a while. I had to walk around when I got there. I was trying to get that energy out of my body because it was so wild. I hadn't experienced a sporting event like that in a long time. But that's why we love sports, man. It's moments like that. Those are the type of moments we live for. Huge wins, big games with a lot of stakes. And so the Broncos get the win. And so drove home and, I went back and watched the condensed version at night just to make sure that what I thought happened, and it did. So it was terrific. But, athletes are interesting because all of them, or the majority of them, say they don't listen to or read what's said about them or their team. And I know that that's not true because they're human as well. And anytime they say they're not paying attention, you can just assume they're paying attention. And Bo Nix and the Broncos offense was under a lot of criticism over the last few weeks for their poor play. And you all watched that game, 2 weeks ago on Thursday, Broncos Raiders, one of the worst games I've ever seen. I wished I were blind after watching that game. It was awful. And Bo Nix was really bad. And the offense was pathetic. They didn't get their first down of the game in that game until they were 25 minutes deep. They had 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. They finally get a first down against the Raiders. Not exactly the steel curtain you're playing there. So the offense had been struggling. And when you play professional sports and you get paid many millions of dollars to perform a job and you underperform, people are going to criticize you. And fans who show up and pay for the parking, the tickets, the food, the merchandise, that invest a lot of time in that, they have every right to voice their frustration. I totally get it. So athletes, I think they miss the point sometimes because it's like, no, we called you out because your play was deserving of being called out. But when you play well and it's deserving of applause, we're going to give you credit for that too. Now, this is funny because of the line that he used, but here is Bronco tight end Adam Troutman after the game defending his quarterback and talking about dudes in their mom's basements making comments online about the quarterback. Take a listen.
First off, if you talk shit about Bo online, you're a coward. Absolute coward. But just want to say that and guard him a little bit. But I mean, it says a lot. He blanks it out, and we talked about it this week. We don't care what other people think. We know what we have in the building, and we know what he's made of, and we don't really care what people have to say. So, Dragon Slayer 69 with his 7-Eleven Slurpee in his mom's basement, I don't give a shit what he has to say, right? And Bo doesn't either. So, yeah.
Dragon Slayer 69. I would imagine there's a few of those handles out there online somewhere. Dragon Slayer 69. Just the fact that he spent an entire minute talking about how we don't care about what you have to say tells you that they really care and do listen all the time. Of course they do. They're sensitive. They know what's being said. They're well aware of what people are saying about their team and their quarterback. And I love Bo Nix. He's a terrific human being. He's the exact guy you want leading your franchise. He works hard. He's a football guy. Shows up first, last to leave, puts in the work. But the reality was he was underperforming. And we had seen some regression from what we had seen over the second half of his rookie season. And there's nothing wrong with criticizing or pointing out that, hey, we need more from the offense here. You have a championship caliber defense. They're going to need more from you if you're going to have a hopes of winning a championship. That's fair. I don't care if you're in your mom's basement or on ESPN or whatever radio station you work for. It's perfectly fine to criticize. Like, for instance, Denny Avdia. He is my favorite person on the Trailblazers. My favorite player. Love Denny Avdia. Two-way player, a great attitude, plays with, intensity. He's physical. He's always looking to push tempo. He can shoot the three. He can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. He's awesome. Denny Avdia is a great basketball player, and he's my favorite. But that doesn't mean that I can't criticize him for having a brain fart at the end of the game last night. That was an awful decision. What were you doing? What are you doing? You're going to settle for a step-back three, you airball? That's problematic, especially when you have plenty of time on the clock. But it doesn't mean I'm not totally down. Players are going to get criticized sometimes. But when you make millions, it's the same thing I used to say about Bryson DeChambeau. Before this transformation where he started to embrace fans and the media and started his YouTube channel and kind of changed his entire approach and the way he handles with people. Before, he'd be frustrated because the cameras were on him at tournaments when he was going through some real struggles. He didn't want the cameras on him, didn't want to talk about it. It's like, look, you can't have it both ways. You're getting paid millions to play golf. if you want all the accolades and the praise and applause when you're doing well, you have to be willing to embrace those times when you're not playing well and you're experiencing frustration and people want to know what's going on. So I think athletes sometimes are funny like that. Athletes are very sensitive. Even Draymond Green last night, there was a fan who I think might have been taller than Draymond who was actually doing something pretty funny. Draymond, and this guy was sitting down there close to the court. Draymond went through one of those stretches where he was missing a bunch of layups and grabbing his own rebounds. And this guy was calling him Angel Reese, which is hilarious. And Draymond, of course, took exception to it. Didn't think it was appropriate and got his feelings hurt. But that is funny. Hey, Angel, put the ball in the basket, man. What are you doing? So I think that's pretty funny. But come on, Troutman. Yeah, they were critical of Bo because he was playing like garbage. No offense, of course. He was. He was terrible. But yesterday, what a bounce back and what a response and what an answer. He outdueled Patrick Mahomes. He didn't turn it over. He made good decisions on third down. He led his team down the field against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, executing a couple of third downs and making a big throw to Troy Franklin to set up the game-winning field goal. He outdueled Patrick Mahomes and got it done when it mattered most, and he played a terrific game. That's how you respond to criticism. You put in the work, you go out there, you perform, and you get the job done. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And Sean Payton was asked about the game and, you know, the process that you go through as a team through some of the difficult losses to learn how to win games like that.
There's a way to win each game, and the players deserve a chance to have that. And so sometimes that can vary, but in a game where, you know, a lot of guys were banged up and they were fully healthy, it's a big win.
And Bo Nix, very happy with the atmosphere at Mile High Stadium yesterday.
Yeah, I thought there were some critical moments to where it got really loud. And, you know, obviously a home field advantage is second to none against a really good team like that and against a good offense. So when you play at home and when you have the crowd factor like that, it's huge. It can be really important. It can play a difference. It can play a big role. And tonight, you know, they were definitely loud at times. It was, you know, it was rocking.
It's pretty sweet. And Bo also talked about not being intimidated by the Chiefs, even though they've owned the AFC West for a decade.
If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And, you know, if you're, some say if you're scared, go to church. But I think it's good to, if you're going to play this sport, if you're going to play this game for too long, you can't really be intimidated, or there's really no sense in going out there. If you don't believe you're going to win and eventually get to the top, then I feel like you just waste so much time, you know, throughout the week. But we work hard, and we've put together a great team to win games like tonight, and, you know, it paid off.
Yeah, there you go. That's Bo, very even keel. You can now text me direct on our text line, the Rip City Radio text line at 88528. From the 503, my radio is broke. I keep hearing Broncos talk. Lame. Go Ravens. Hey, look, I love the Broncos. What do you want me to say? And the Ravens, they just got to do what they did yesterday. Find a way to win and keep going forward. And the Ravens, after a horrendous start, are probably going to win that division. Steelers took another, got the win yesterday, but we'll see what the deal is with Aaron Rodgers and his wrist. But I think the Ravens now in a great position to win that division. And they survived against the Browns yesterday. Survived, but got it done. It's pretty impressive when you look around the NFL right now. We have a passing of the torch in the AFC West. The New England Patriots lead the AFC East. And the Indianapolis Colts right now continuing to press forward at 8-2. But it's pretty awesome. In the AFC East right now, we're going to have two playoff teams, Patriots and Bills. And right now the Patriots have a 1.5 game lead on the Bills, and they have a victory over Buffalo already on the season. In the AFC North, Pittsburgh at 6-4, Baltimore 4 straight wins, now at 5-5. But Baltimore's trending in the right direction, and the Steelers right now showing some cracks. Bengals and Browns are out, not a surprise. In the South, Colts at 8-2, 2 games up on Jacksonville at 6-4. Texans have won back-to-back games. They're back to 500 at 5-5. In the AFC West, Broncos in full control at 9-2. Chargers 2 games back at 7-4, coming off that beat down at the hands of the Jaguars yesterday, and the Chiefs now at 5-5. So it's going to be a mad scramble over the final 6 weeks of the season to see who gets slotted where. All right, we'll keep things rolling. On Monday Night Football tonight, Cowboys at Raiders coming up. Kickoff at 5:15. And you can reach out to me on the Rip City Radio text line, 88528. 88528. Fire away with your text if you'd like. Blazers back in action tomorrow, host the Suns. Tip-off is at 8. Chris Burkhart will have game day at 6. And I'll have the Rip City Drive tomorrow from 3 until 6 right here in your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. So just looking at the AFC right now, I think it's really about 4 teams: New England, Buffalo, Indianapolis, and Denver. I think Buffalo is a serious problem. I think it's going to come down to home field advantage, and whoever secures that will have the inside track on the Super Bowl. Very important for both Buffalo and Denver. But Kansas City is pretty much out of it now. They can still make the postseason, but I do not believe they're a Super Bowl threat at 5-5. And it's not really a knock on the Chiefs. This is just the result of, playing in multiple Super Bowls over an extended period of time. So you're playing 4 to 5 extra games a year. And you have a roster now that's aging. And what happens is the downside to winning and being at the top for so long is that your draft picks are at the end of the first round. And it's not just the end of the first round, but that means the end of the second, the third, the fourth, and so on. So it's really hard to restock the cupboard when you're constantly picking at the end of the first round. The players at that point aren't as good. A lot of the guys that you like may get grabbed at, 15 or 20 before you have a chance to get on them. And that's why I think you see someone like John Schneider, always moving back and trying to collect picks because they don't see anyone at the end of the first round they like. And so I think the Chiefs are going through that right now. And the problem is your key guys like Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, they're not young anymore. And then you start to invest a bunch of money into your quarterback, and then it becomes much more difficult to be able to manage your roster and to continue to add the talent in the key areas that you need. And so what you saw yesterday in that Bronco-Chief game was, the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, and that's a major advantage. But the Broncos are better in the secondary. The Broncos have better linebackers. They've got more talent up front on the defensive line, and they're deeper. They've got a much better offensive line, and they're more talented at receiver. So really the big advantage that they have is at quarterback. But Bo Nix is a young guy with talent who's developing. So when you match up the two teams, it's like the Broncos have an edge in multiple areas because of their roster. And that's because the Chiefs pay your quarterback. You're at the top of the league for an extended period of time, so your draft picks aren't as good. And before you know it, there's that erosion of talent in combination with the aging superstars. And so it becomes difficult. And we saw the same thing happen in New England with Brady and Belichick, where you're going to go through some lean years, and then you've got to find the right players to retool and continue to move forward. And the Chiefs' brain trust, they're smart enough. They're going to be able to do it, but that's the challenges that they face. And that's the reality. And that's why I like a team like Philadelphia so amazing, because their scouting department and their general manager, they've done such a great job of drafting and finding key players who can slide in and help them. So those are the 4 teams right now to keep an eye on: Denver, Indy, Buffalo, and New England. All at the top of the AFC and looking really good. In the NFC, I think it comes down to a few teams. Philadelphia right now is the best. Defending champs, they have the most complete roster. And once again, last night, they showed that they have what it takes to win big games. Their defense squashed Detroit, and Jalen Hurts was very timely in his big plays. And they're getting better with trying to figure out their run game and get it on track. Saquon was much more impactful last night. I'm impressed by Chicago at 7-3. I don't know if they're a legit contender, but Ben Johnson clearly is getting the job done with the Bears, who currently sit atop the NFC North, if you can believe that. Bears at 7-3. Packers and Lions sit at 6-3-1 and 6-4. Tampa Bay has been ravaged by injuries. They're a half game up on the Panthers in the South. Tampa at 6-4, Carolina at 6-5. And then you've got the very competitive NFC West. Rams at 8-2, Hawks at 7-3 after yesterday's result. And then the 49ers got Brock Purdy back there at 7-4. So I would say right now the team I look at, Philadelphia, the best in the NFC, and then we'll see who can be the main contender to them. probably out of the NFC West, Rams, Seahawks, or 49ers. And shout out to Robert Saleh for the work he's doing with the 49er defense. They have been so destroyed by injury, and yet he's coaching up the defense, getting maximum production from that group, and then Kyle Shanahan's a master. Brock Purdy's been down and out for an extended period of time. He finally comes back, but he was able to get Mac Jones to play effective football. Christian McCaffrey's been great. I'm just impressed with Kyle Shanahan and the work he's done. Just finding a massive supply of Band-Aids to keep it all together. All right, when we come back, one of my favorite coworkers, Susan Reynolds, is going to join me. And we got something very cool coming up at Moda Center for the game on Wednesday. And it's going to benefit kids for Christmas who are going to be at Legacy Emmanuel. So we'll give you details on the toy drive and how you can bring your new unopened toys to Moda Center on Wednesday for the toy drive, and you can be a part of something special. So we'll talk about that next. Monday Night Football with the Cowboys and Raiders coming up at 5. I appreciate your time. The text line's 88528. You can now text me direct on the Rip City Radio text line, 88528. Lock that into your phone, 88528, and share your thoughts. Even if you want to tell me that I suck, I'm cool with that. 88528. You got the Rip City Drive. All right, the Trailblazers suffered an overtime loss in Dallas last night. They finished up their road trip at 1-4. They're now 6-7 on the season. They're back home tomorrow night. They'll host the Suns. Game will tip off at 8 from Moda Center. It's going to be on NBC. Chris Burkhardt will have Blazers Game Day live at 6. Oregon Ducks are 5th in the coaches poll, 6th in the AP after Alabama's lost to Oklahoma. We'll get a new batch of college football playoff rankings that drop tomorrow. Oregon will host USC Saturday, kickoff at 12:30. It's going to be on CBS. The Ducks are favored by 10.5. We got Monday Night Football coming up at 5:15 on ABC. Cowboys and Raiders from Allegiant Stadium down in Vegas. Right now, Dallas a 3.5-point favorite. Elsewhere, Michael Penix Jr. is going to miss the rest of the year after suffering a knee injury in yesterday's game against the Panthers. Kirk Cousins will start. In other news, LeBron is now practicing with the Lakers, and Victor Wembanyama out a few weeks with a strained calf. More of the Rip City Drive coming at you right now. All right, Rip City Drive. You can reach out on the text line at 88528, and I will get your messages right here. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have Blazers Game Day at 6. Tip-off with the Suns at 8 from Moda Center, and I'll be over there live at Moda with the Rip City Drive at 3 o'clock, and we'll have Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Your chance to win Trailblazer tickets to all home games each and every Tuesday right here on the Rip City Drive, courtesy of me and your Portland Trailblazers. Now, joining me in studio right now is one of my favorite coworkers of all time, and she's been in the business for a long time, Susan Reynolds, who heads up the promotions department here at iHeartRadio. And we got something big going on, Susan. Thank you for coming in studio. But the K103 Under the Tree Toy Drive, which is one of the best things that we do each and every year, benefiting Randall's Children's Hospital over at Legacy. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And thanks for having me in, Chad.
It's great to see you, Susan.
Yeah, you too. See you in the hallway, but this is a little different.
How many years have you put in now into radio? We calculated this the other day in your office. It's over 40.
Like 42, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah, long time.
Well, it's great to have you. But this here, I think we all love to do anything we can to help out kids, but especially ones who are going to be stuck in the hospital during Christmas time.
Yeah, it's tough. And, they're away from their families and, it could be something catastrophic. It could be something less than that, but the bottom line is they're not home. And so we decided to try and work this out, and we did. And so all the stations here are supporting our sister station, K103. And we are collecting toys now at participating Jamba locations around the Portland, Vancouver, Salem area. 21 locations in all, which
Awesome.
you can find on our website. But we have something special this week.
Yes.
On Wednesday night when the Blazers take on the Chicago Bulls. My hometown team, by the way. Had to throw that in. Anyway, we are going to be out there collecting toys. So we're hoping that everyone that's coming to that Blazer game on Wednesday night brings a new unwrapped toy, emphasis on the new and on the unwrapped.
Yes.
And we'll be out there. We'll be outside of the arena collecting those toys. We're going to be delivering everything to the hospital in mid-December. But, for now, we're out there. Jamba is going to be doing something fun during the game. I won't spoil what that is, but some of our people will be involved in that too. So we thought this would be a great time to collect toys. And so we will be out there. We will be, even if you show up and you want to just get in line to get inside, we'll be over at the entrances. We'll be working the line.
That's great. So you're going to have people out there with bags. So this is really easy. If you're going to the game on Wednesday, the Chicago game, and you come down, just bring your new toy that's unopened, unwrapped, that's perfect condition. Bring it down, hold on to it, and when you get in line to get inside the stadium, inside of the arena, you'll have people walking around with bags collecting the toys. You drop it off, boom, simple.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very easy way, and it doesn't have to be anything huge. I mean, in fact, on the website we have a link to Randall's donation page, and you can look and see some of the suggested toys. And, they said sometimes the smallest things are the best things. Things that kids can play with by themselves. They also use these toys in group settings. They do arts and crafts therapy. So lots of things needed. they need a lot of toys because they have a warehouse that they keep the toys in, and it's pretty much empty now. So we are going to do our best to refill that warehouse and give those kids something fun to do over the holidays.
You know, what's cool is I talked to a nurse that works over there that I know, and she was telling me that and this is not a surprise, but she said giving the toys to the kids when they're trapped inside the hospital, the way that their face lights up and they feel like Santa has come and paid them a personal visit at the hospital, she said that it changes their entire outlook, their demeanor, everything. It makes them really happy.
Oh, yeah. You can just imagine how sad it would be to be in the hospital. You know your family's at home opening their gifts, and I'm sure the families come around as much as they can during the visiting hours, but, bottom line is those kids are stuck in there, and they need stuff to do, stuff that's fun, stuff that does cheer them up and bring a smile to their face, and this is the way to do it. So it's nice and simple. Everyone coming out to that game, you bring some toys with you. We will take them, we will deliver them to the hospital, and we thank you for that.
Yeah, it's great. So Wednesday, a very special event down at Moda Center. Big thanks to the Trailblazers and everyone involved with this. Bring your toys down. We'll have our crew out there rolling around with bags to be able to collect as you're entering the arena. That's coming up this Wednesday for the Chicago game, which tips off at 7 o'clock. Now, Susan, the toy drive in general, it starts today, and it's going to go all the way until December 13th. It's presented by Terra Firma, keeping Northwest homes safe, dry, and stable for more than 20 years. And you can donate, as you mentioned, 21 different Jamba Juice locations throughout the Portland, Salem, and Southwest Washington area. You can drop off your donation, and when you do, Jamba's going to give you 10% off your order.
Yeah, and
Boom.
actually, I know. Actually, this started over a week ago, so this is ongoing now through December 13th. But I've been around to some Jamba locations because we're out and about, just thanking people. And I've had quite a few Jamba in the meantime, and they are quite good,
Yes.
as you probably already know. But even if you drop by there and you see the bin and you don't have something with you, you can always come back because we'll be collecting the toys there through December 13th and then delivering them over to Randall Children's Hospital in the middle of December.
That's the best. Like, what do you remember from when you were younger? What was your favorite, toy or present that you got on Christmas?
Well, since I'm Jewish, we celebrated Hanukkah.
Yes.
we didn't celebrate Christmas in my house, but when I was a young child, I had a love for the Barbie doll.
Yeah.
And I would collect a lot of those. And it was always just, I don't know. I was always looking at my friends who celebrated Christmas like,
Yeah.
They really have it made.
Now, did you celebrate Christmas with your kids
Oh, yeah.
or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I threw out all the old rules and started my own thing. And
Well, because I know Travis Demers,
Yeah.
my good friend, does the same thing. He's Jewish, and so he grew up under with the same traditions that you did, but yet with his kids, he celebrates both. So
we do too. We light a menorah and we put up a Christmas tree. And we figure, why not? It's fun, it's festive, and the kids love it. So,
Well, I'll share this story with you because listeners enjoy it, and I don't think I've shared it with you yet. But I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma, small town outside of Tulsa. And I looked recently, and I think the most recent census, we're talking about, less than 2,000 people. So small town.
Oh, yeah.
So in fact, so small that I was in grade school at the time. So the grade school, middle school, and high schoolers, we all rode the same bus on the way home. And so I was the last stop on the route. So I became very good friends with the bus driver. His name was Kirk. And I remember one day I was really sick and he helped me up down our long driveway to the front of the house and stuff. Well, this one day in Christmas back in 1983, I came downstairs and there were notes that my mom had written leading me out to the French doors out to the deck. And then there was it was actually snowing that day on Christmas. And I went outside and there was a horse tied up to the one of the posts on the house, and there was an apple sitting on top of another, and it said, "Feed me." And his name was Charlie, who became my horse. Well, it was my bus driver that had given me the horse for Christmas.
A real horse?
Yeah, a real horse.
Not like a stuffed animal horse?
No, like an actual horse, because
Whoa.
I lived out in the country. Now, the funny thing is if in today's world, if a bus driver said, "Hey, I want to give your daughter a horse for Christmas," I'm like, no, I don't think that's a good idea.
Probably not.
But back in Oklahoma in 1983, my parents were like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So I got to keep him, and he was stubborn, but I got to know him, and And then if I gave him his sugar cubes and make sure I took care of him, he would let me take him on long rides. So there you go.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Well, either the bus driver was trying to get rid of the horse,
Yeah.
or he was just a nice dude.
Yes. Now, how the story ended is unfortunate.
Oh.
And I was young because, young enough, but, Charlie eventually got sick.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we lived out in the country. So I just remember one day my dad went on a long walk with Charlie, but
Oh, no.
only my dad came back from the walk. And my dad told me that, Charlie was not feeling well, so he wanted to go and be with his family. And so my little Chad mind, I was like, well, that makes sense to me.
Uh-huh.
But luckily, I did not know what took place at the end of that walk into the woods.
Yeah, it's like when the family dog goes out to live on a farm.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
kind of know.
Yeah, and I understand why my dad did what he did. I would not have been able to handle the truth.
Probably
right?
not.
But that's the one I remember. So that was a good one though, because I was not expecting a horse when I woke up that morning, Susan.
Most kids ask for a puppy dog or something.
Yeah.
A horse.
Oh, I just saw your post. You got a new dog. Susan has a dog, Joey. He's a year old now.
He turned 1 over the weekend.
Yes, you put out a post with all the different pictures or a video of
Oh, yeah.
the last year. It was awesome. I love Joey, and thank you for putting that up.
Well, you're welcome. He's quite the handful, and I was kind of hoping that on the year anniversary of his birth, he would calm down, but that has not been the case. So we will keep trying.
Okay, well, the toy drive is coming up on Wednesday before the Chicago game. When you're coming down to the game, get your new toy. Hold on to it as you're in line. Susan and her team will be out there with bags collecting the toys. It's that simple.
Exactly. So thank you in advance for that. Thanks for giving me a little time to talk about it.
No, it's a good event.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? What else is going on? So K103 is now playing Christmas music.
Oh boy, are we ever? And we've got a million things going on. I mean, there's so much. The Christmas floodgates have opened, and we are. We've got tickets to things. We've got special promotions coming up. We even have a photo shoot with the hipster Santa. If you've ever seen him,
Santa.
Listen.
That sounds very Portland to me.
It is so Portland. I mean, I don't know of too many other places where this kind of thing would.
What is the mission of the hipster Santa, by the way?
Well, first of all, he's at Washington Square Mall.
Okay.
On select days, not every day. He has, he's got a busy schedule.
He's a
got
hipster,
coffee to drink and tattoos to get, and he has tattoos, and he wears kind of like a big chunky sweater, and he's got probably pierced ears. I don't know. Anyway, he's awfully nice though. We met him last year, and so this year we're letting people enter to win a photo session with the hipster Santa at Washington Square Mall.
Does hipster Santa have a beard?
Oh, of course he does.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Oh yeah, no, he's got the full hipster regalia. He's something.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
All right,
so
Susan
there's all
Reynolds.
kinds of stuff going on, and everything is on our website, so you can just look there. But but more importantly is the mission to collect these toys for the kids at Randall Children's Hospital. So
Excellent.
we
Yeah, it's
thank
beautiful.
you, and thanks to our sponsors too.
And if you're not going to the game on Wednesday for the Chicago game, just go to our website, ripcityradio.com, and you can get all the different Jamba locations where you can drop off your toys.
Exactly.
All right, Susan, thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
All right, big thanks to Susan Reynolds. We'll keep things rolling. We're going to hear from Tamani Kamara when we come back. Chad Doing here on the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Well, I'm liking this new text line here. You can now reach out to me on the Rip City Radio text line, 88528. 88528. Just save that in your phone, and you can fire away with your messages. From the 503, my wife listens to K103 now. Can't I enjoy my turkey first? Hey, look, I'm with you. I am not a fan of Christmas decoration or Christmas music prior to Thanksgiving. That's just how I roll. But I know a lot of people that love the Christmas music. You know, I was with my son yesterday, Isaac, running him around and doing some different things. And I had gotten out of my car. I had to run in and grab a prescription for Isaac. And when I came back in, he had flipped the radio dial over to K103 because he wanted to listen to Christmas music. He loves it. So my apologies. But the K103 Under the Tree Toy Drive, benefiting the kids at Randall's, awesome. So if you're going down to that game on Wednesday against Chicago, the Chicago Bulls are going to be in town, tip at 7. Just bring your new toys down with you, and then we're going to have our crew out there rolling around with bags collecting all of your toys. So bring new toys. It doesn't matter whether it's big or small or whatever. Just make sure it's unopened. That's all. And don't be one of those weirdos that's trying to re-gift a toy that you got when you were younger. That would be creepy. Just bring down your new unopened toys, and we'll have people down there to collect, and they're going to go to the kids at Randall's. It's genius. And if you can't make it, if you're not going to the game on Wednesday, then you have up until, mid-December. There's 21 different Jamba Juice locations that you can stop by in Portland, Vancouver, and the Salem area and drop off your toys there. Just go to ripcityradio.com, go to the calendar page. You get all the details you need. But that is a good deal. So bring them down on Wednesday. We'll be out there collecting toys, and you can be a part of the process. This right here, I love. From the 503, it says, Chad, Bob in Salem. Been going to Duck games for 46 years. Don Essig is an icon. But the principal, Curtis Long, did a fabulous job on PA against Minnesota on Friday night. I endorse him as the future PA of the Oregon home sporting events. Well, Bob, I appreciate you reaching out to say that. And I was very happy for my boy, Curtis Long. The principal, Curtis Long, who's been an educator in the area for a long period of time. I've known him for years and years. He originally went to college and graduated from Oregon and was going to get into broadcasting, and he did. But he learned early on that he did not really enjoy the unstable nature of the industry. So he went back to school and decided to go into education and became a principal. The problem is he doesn't enjoy being an educator as much as he does being on the radio. So we reconnected and started doing some broadcasts together. And we've been friends for a long time. And so I really like him. He's just a good dude. Curtis Long is good people, but he loves doing PA work or broadcasting work for the teams that he loves. Went to Oregon, grew up a Trailblazer fan. So he has filled in for Mark Mason and done a great job. He has been the voice over at Child Center for the OSAA games on the PA mic and had a chance to fill in for Don Essig at his very first football game, filling in for Don on Friday night. Now, the cool part for me is that when I tuned into the broadcast on Fox, you could hear his voice, and it was pretty awesome. Pretty good. I was like, man, that's Curtis. But he does a good job on the PA. So I appreciate you reaching out to say that, my friend. Bob in Salem supports Curtis being the PA voice. And, of course, Don Essig is. He's been doing it for like 50 years, Don Essig. Guy's awesome. But he was ill, and it gave an opportunity for Curtis to step in, and he did a heck of a job. Or you can reach out to me on the text line, 88528, the Rip City Radio text line, 88528. You can call the show at 503-248-0620. Happy to take your phone calls. Oregon, 5th in the coaches poll, 6th in the AP after Alabama's home loss to Oklahoma. And we'll get a new batch of college football rankings coming out tomorrow. Let's go out to Don in Lake-O. Don, my friend, what's going on?
Chad, I'm around here and there. Call from Wilsonville, Beaverton, wherever, man.
Yeah.
I'm on the road driving. I'm hearing you. And that was a good win. Tough game for the Broncos. I knew that you were pretty excited to see Patrick get hammered. This is something you've been wishing for a long time, and you finally got the wish. I was thinking about the playoff picture, Chad, and I think Carolina's going to catch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I also think that Green Bay's not going to make the playoffs. And I also think Seattle will end up playing the Rams in the NFC Championship.
No Philadelphia?
No, I think Philadelphia they're going to make some mistakes. I mean, the defense against the Eagles last night was pretty good. They just couldn't score. The Detroit couldn't score very good. That game was really a defensive game, a couple of plays here and there. But I think the Rams could step up and beat them in playoffs, or Seattle could beat them in the playoffs.
All right.
I really do.
Well, I appreciate that. I think for me, Don, Philadelphia right now looks like the best team in the NFC. They're not pretty. They do it their own ugly way. But when it matters most, they've got the power and the strength at the line of scrimmage to get it done. And Jalen Hurts is a very cool customer. But I do love the Rams and Seahawks. What a horrific game for Sam Darnold yesterday. 4 picks. Hey, Sam, what are you doing out there? Not a good day to throw 4 picks. And yet they were right there with a chance to win that game. But 61 yards is a long ways to go for a game-winning field goal. It's a long kick, very long kick. Tough loss. Now the Rams are in control for the moment of the NFC West. San Francisco kept pace. They beat down Arizona. And the Seahawks, like I've said before, Darnold's had a big year up until yesterday with the 4 picks, but they're finding more balance in the offense. I love the youth that they have defensively. Love that defensive front. The Hawks are going to be a factor. There's no question about it. But I do think Philadelphia is super legit. But there are some coaches I do not understand for the life of me. These coaches that just disrespect points and field position at all turns. Like Dan Campbell. Look, I like Dan Campbell. He has built a culture, and the Lions have an identity. They know who they are when they go into games, and they're going to be aggressive. But I still think that guys like Dan Campbell need to understand that there's certain games and situations based on weather, based on the team you're playing, that, it's okay to play field position once in a while. You get too aggressive and you give a short field, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. Don't be afraid to take points. You saw it with Canales and Carolina and Atlanta yesterday. They were fortunate to get out of there with a win. And Dan Campbell just continuing to go for it on 4th down. And after the game, Campbell, in a 7-point game, admitted that he wished he would have made better decisions.
Offensively, 3 of 13, 0 on 3rd down, and 0 of 5 on 4th down. We could not convert, and when you can't convert, that makes it very difficult. Felt like we were going to get in a rhythm after that second quarter. We started, we hit those explosives, went down, J-Mo scores, touchdown, and it felt like, all right, here we go. Just couldn't ever really get in a rhythm offensively. There's some calls I wish I could have gotten back. I didn't help those guys. I hate that.
Yeah, he did. He hurt his team yesterday with his decision-making. And I love these coaches, too. Like, if you have a formula, do they have an analytics guy that tells him what to do? Because I don't believe Dan Campbell's following any type of formula for analytics. I think he's going off his gut. And that can be good sometimes, but sometimes it can be bad. So Detroit couldn't get a 4th down, horrible on 3rd down. And the Eagles' defense, you could see it, man. They had Jared Goff turned inside out. He didn't know which way was which. And they kicked his ass. That was a great defensive performance by the Eagles. Now, in the other game, Carolina and Atlanta, and you got to give props to the Panthers playing pretty good football right now. Bryce Young, big day, and when his team needed it most, put together a 2-minute drill.
1:15 on the clock on 3rd and goal from the 12. Young looking around, looking. He'll take off and run. Now throws to the end zone. McMillan, left corner, makes the catch. Touchdown, Carolina! Touchdown, Carolina!
And it went into overtime, and they win the game on a field goal, 30-27, the final. But Canales, the Carolina coach, same thing as Dan Campbell. I mean, his team got down early, 21-7, but they came roaring back, and their defense was dominating the second half of that game. And you had Kirk Cousins in there, but he was coaching the game and going for it on 4th down and just ignoring field goals, like somehow his team was not playing well. It's like, what's wrong with you? Shake yourself, coach. It just drives me crazy. I don't know how we got to a point in football where, coaches just give a middle finger to the field goal and to field position, but there's got to be some form of balance. And if you have a formula and you stick to it no matter what, then I can live with that. But if you're just pulling stuff out of your backside or going with your gut at all times, it's like, come on, man. You got to have someone around you that can help you with that kind of stuff. It's kind of like the blackjack table. If you don't want to hit a 16, like if you're just not going to do it, fine. But be consistent in that approach. If you hit it every time, good. But, just the whole randomness to what you do and why you do it based on gut or feel, it drives you crazy. But these coaches, and Dan Campbell, yeah, he also said it just wasn't his team's night.
We were just a little off. I mean, it really was kind of one of those days. I hate saying that, but it was just a little bit of one of those days. And Goff and St. Brown don't connect more than that. That's just a rare thing because those guys have such a good connection. But, there again, man, we're all involved in this. We all got a hand in it. From me, the coaches, all of us, man, everybody that's part of this offense, we got to be better, especially in a day like today when you're playing that kind of defense, that kind of team.
I like Dan Campbell. Even when he's out there just, being the riverboat gambler, being crazy with his decision-making, I respect him because he's got a big heart and I know he cares. All right, Trailblazers came apart at the seams in that overtime period. Now, let's take a listen to Tamani Kamara. I'm not worried at all about the Trailblazers. Early in the season, they're 6-7. That's fine. Not a good road trip, but they've just got to continue to press forward and continue to make adjustments and get more used to their approach and what they're trying to do this year. They're going to be fine. And it will be helpful when they actually have a friggin' point guard on the floor. And no Drew Holiday last night. But after the game, Tamani Kamara, let's take a listen.
We just got to stick together and make good plays towards the end of the game. I think sometimes we shy away from things that we do good early on, but I think we're going to be just fine. We're learning a lot from this. Sadly, it's still losses, but I think we're going to bounce back.
How much are you feeling, the absence of Drew and just not having a point guard really tonight?
I mean, for sure, Drew is a veteran. He's been doing this for a long time, so he helped us a lot when he's on the court, so I can't deny that. But I feel like there was a way for us to win this game tonight without him. I think with him, he facilitated the game a lot. But, he's a great player. That's what he does.
You guys have had a real positive start to the season. Some big
last
wins,
break
obviously.
of
This is kind of
hours, 5.5.
Wednesday after Houston and then losing this. I guess just how would you assess where the team's at right now?
I mean, there's ups and downs. We play 82 games. It's hard to be consistent in this league. There's great players in every team, so we just got to stay locked in on what we do and trust each other, believe in our coaching stuff and whatever's being told to us, teach to us, and I think we're gonna be just fine. It's a long season still, but sadly we're learning through losses by now.
Do you guys have to play differently with most of your guards out?
Not really. I feel like we're still able to play the same way. Some people got to step up. Caleb had to step up today. He did a great job. CD had to step up, did a great job. Roops also. So it's all about the next player, who's next. And I feel like we have all the talent in this locker room to be able to accomplish whatever we need to accomplish.
What do you think it's going to take to kind of get out of this little mini rut?
Stay true to the process. I think every team has lows, every team has highs. It's just how short can you make them? So how can we bounce back? We have a day tomorrow when we can take care of our body, get home, kind of like restart our brain a little bit, and on to the next game. I feel like that's the only way we can go about it. And I think everybody still got a positive mindset on our season. We just got to go day by day, and I think we're going to be just fine.
Obviously, if you could see what the problem was in the close games, you would solve it. But like, can you pinpoint what's going on with that? Is it just not making shots? Is it maybe just a young team kind of going through it?
I think it's a little bit of everything. We had some turnovers, some bad decisions towards the stretch. I mean, personally, I wasn't hitting shots, but I feel like everybody got to step up at some point. There's plenty of areas we could have done better. Boxing out, I feel like that's an area we need to get better for sure. But yeah.
Safe to say though, when you get in these moments, you have won some games down the stretch. You have that belief factor. You don't feel that wavering at all.
Yeah, for sure. I think we played some great defense towards the end, and they made some big shots. They made the shots that they needed to win, and we got to be able to respond. But yeah, I think that's just part of the game. We got to move on from this.
Thiago said after the game that he told you guys need to play smarter on defense, and is that just kind of fouling too much, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I think there's a moment we put ourselves in the bonus a little bit too early in quarters. We can play a bit better defense on ball and off ball, better rotation on help. But we have some great moments defensively. We just got to be able to, like I said, keep those good moments a little bit longer.
And see, it's always good to hear from the players because, it's less emotional than being a fan. They have a very level-headed approach in terms of where they're at. And I look at this very simply where, you start the year out and you've got an identity in terms of what you're wanting to accomplish, how you want to play. You got a formula for what's going to be needed to have success. And then you get a couple of weeks in, you get a couple of guys banged up, you got some new players on the floor, and you're still working through the madness. The problem is they've played so many games over the first few weeks of the season that you get a little bit loose in terms of your execution on both ends. And they just need some time together to be able to regroup, tighten some things up, and then continue to press forward, playing with more effort, more energy than your opponent. They're going to be okay. And I think Thiago's splitter will continue to work with these guys. They respect him. He'll be fine. So I like where this group is at. And the thing is, they're still young, and they've got a lot of things to continue to learn and good things they can take from the road trip to grow from, which is nice. And it will help, too, when they get, a point guard on the floor. But they do. They need to communicate better defensively. They've got to be more effective in terms of defending without fouling. But these are all workable things that can be corrected. The other good news is they're 6-7. So they're right there near the 500 mark this early in the season, which is a good sign. And I think the best part is, you drop a couple of games in a row. So what do? You gotta bounce back and make sure that, the road trip that you went 1-4 on doesn't become, a factor. It doesn't grow into a longer losing streak. Bounce back tomorrow against the Suns, get back on track, and then continue to press forward. But overall, I like where the group is at. But the Dallas loss was brutal. They were in control of the game, and then they weren't in control, and then the overtime period, they just came apart at the seams. And even for Denny. I love Denny, but that was a good learning experience for him about that much time, having the rock and understanding what you got to do and making better decisions when you got the basketball in your hand. He'll learn from that. And Denny wants to win. So, that play probably drove him insane after the game. So, Suns tomorrow, Bulls Wednesday, back-to-back. You come out of this, you get a couple of wins at home against the Suns and Bulls, and you're sitting there at 8-7 after that road trip. They'll feel a lot better about themselves. But a good opportunity here with the home back-to-back to get right back on track. And don't forget about the toys on Wednesday. All right, toys. Bring your new toys unopened to the game with you on Wednesday, and we're going to have people down there collecting with bags, rolling around, picking up the toys, and they're going to be donated to Randall's Children's Hospital for the kids that got to be stuck in the freaking hospital on Christmas. That sucks. We all know it, and we can make their lives better by giving them toys. And if you're not going to the game on Wednesday, no problem. We are going to have that toy drive going at 21 different Jamba Juice locations up through late December. So you can go on our website, ripcityradio.com, and be able to get one of the locations and drop off the toys. You can reach out to me on the text line, Rip City Radio text line 88528. 88528. It's a great way for you to, check in with the show. From the 503, we're missing some important players. Thibault's a great defender. Scoot's going to give us a big lift. 100%. Thibault's a key part of this team in terms of what he can do in the rotation defensively, his three-point shooting, but Scoot's going to be massive. This offense was designed for Scoot. I can't wait to see him, working within this fast offense and what it's going to do for him, a player of his caliber with his athleticism. He should thrive with this attack. Tony in Sherwood chimes in, hey, just checking in on this new text line to say, hey, and can we get some Al Stewart for bumps? Year of the Cat, baby. Year of the Cat is a great song. I think this might be the first time anyone's chimed in saying they want Al Stewart, Year of the Cat for a bump song. Mike Oakes is in control, my man, Tony. So if he wants to play Al Stewart, he can play Al Stewart. And Jahmyr Gibbs looked great. That's from the 503. He did. And Gibbs is awesome. He's got great speed, good contact balance. He can get outside. He can run between the tackles. He's a great running back. The problem is the Eagles' defense won first and second down, and they kept putting Detroit in long yardage situations. And when they didn't, they were able to get stops on fourth and short with penetration. That Eagles' defensive front was getting massive penetration. All right, 503-248-0620. We'll come back. We got Monday Night Football coming up at 5 with the Cowboys and Raiders. Well, there you go, Tony and Sherwood. Ask and you shall receive. That's the Christmas spirit from my man Mike Oakes right there. Just checking in on this one. Can we get some Al Stewart bump music? Sure. Here you go, buddy. All right, we'll come back and finish it out. Monday Night Football with the Cowboys and Raiders coming up at 5 here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Snap placement, kick on the way, and it is good. They don't block this one like last year in Kansas City. And on the final play of the game, the Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs by a final score of 22-19.
All right, you can reach out on the Rip City Radio text line 88528. Just save that number in your phone. Great way to be able to communicate with me. 88528 on the Rip City Radio text line. And we got Monday Night Football coming up here on Rip City Radio 620 in about 10 minutes. It's going to be the Raiders and Cowboys from Las Vegas. Right now, Dallas favored by 3.5. So Raiders and Cowboys coming up at 5. Tomorrow, I'll be over at Moda Center, Rip City Drive, live from Moda. And Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday, we'll have that at 5. So all you have to do is listen to me for your chance to win. And we give away Trailblazer tickets to each and every home game throughout the entire basketball season. So listen to me on Tuesdays, Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. And don't forget, tomorrow we'll also have the Trailblazer Insider with Sean Hyken starting at 2 o'clock. So back-to-back home games. Tomorrow night, the 8 o'clock tip with the Suns, going to be on NBC. And then the following night, the Chicago Bulls, normal home tip time of 7. But the Chicago game will be the toy drive night, benefiting Randall Children's Hospital. So if you're coming to the game, stop by and pick up a toy. It doesn't matter the size or the cost or whatever. Just bring new, unopened toys with you, and we're going to have our iHeart crew down there collecting them in bags, and we'll get them to Randall's Children's Hospital. And the toys are going to go to kids who are stuck in the hospital this year during the Christmas time. So get a chance to do something special for the kids, which is awesome. And we're going to do that. We're going to be down there on Wednesday. So bring your toys Wednesday to the game. Now, if you can't make it to the game, if you're not going, then just go to ripcityradio.com and check out the calendar page. We've got the details on the K103 Under the Tree toy drive. There are, I believe, 21 different Jamba Juice locations throughout Portland, Vancouver, and Salem that you can stop by to drop off your toys. And when you do that, they'll also give you 10% off of your Jamba Juice order. My typical go-to at Jamba is the apples and greens. Love that. Quite refreshing, I might add. So there you have it. Loved the Duck game on Friday night. Thought they played really well against Minnesota. Blew them out, got the job done, got the cover. It was great to hear Curtis Long on the PA mic filling in for a sick Don Essig. Great job by Curtis. But the Ducks are right where you need to be. This is going to be a good game. They're a 10.5-point favorite against USC. But I think this is going to be a darn good football game because USC is playing good football. And Lincoln Riley has done a great job with that team this year. They're much more physical up front. And most importantly, they're running the football. They got the Lincoln Riley balance back in the offense where everything's kind of set up off the run. They got down early 21-10 to Iowa and then came roaring back in the second half and got the win. So respect to USC. That should be a heck of a game. Heck of a football game there with USC and Oregon. And for the Ducks, it's pretty simple now. Handle your business against USC and Washington, and you're in the playoff. That's all you got to do. Take care of biz. Shouldn't be a problem for the Ducks based on the talent they have and the way that Dante Moore is playing. All right, big thanks to Mike Oakes. I want you guys to have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow, live from Moda Center. And the tip-off tomorrow night between the Suns and Blazers at 8, and it's all right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday tomorrow. All you have to do is listen to me for your chance to win.